Ela mora no meu peito e eu moro vizinho a ela. E eu fico desse jeito, pensando nos beijos, nos carinhos dela. Ela mora no meu peito e eu moro vizinho a ela. E eu fico desse jeito, pensando nos beijos, nos carinhos dela. Ela mora no meu peito e eu moro vizinho a ela.
All right, and welcome back to my in-depth interview. Tonight, I have a wonderful guest, someone that's been on the show 2 or 3 times actually, and his name is Mr. Ramos Lynn, owner of the Mexico City Aztecs. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great, Ashley. Thank you very much for having me. Always great to be here. First of all, I want to apologize that I don't have like a webcam or something like that so you can see my face in 4K resolution, but I'm happy to be here and I'm excited for this.
Hey, listen, I'm happy to have you either way. I'm glad you made time for me. And hey, there'll be plenty other times where you get the camera working and we'll be able to see you, okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be there.
Awesome. Now, for those that didn't get a chance to actually hear you on the couple shows that you've been on, would you mind just giving us a brief overview of yourself? So that just your hometown, well, your real name if you want to, age, hometown, some interesting facts, and your favorite NFL team.
All right. So my real name is Joel. Nobody calls me like that though, not even my parents. I always go by Joey at work. Even my parents call me Joey. And in the internet world, I'm basically most known as Ramos. Because that's my last name. So that's it. And as far as hometown, I live in Querétaro, Mexico. That's about 2 hours away from Mexico City. Just to give you a reference, it's about 2 hours away from Mexico City. Actually, many years ago, this used to be the capital of the country before Mexico City was. And my favorite football team, the NFL, and I'm not sure if I should be saying this because they're not doing too good. It's Denver Broncos. That's my favorite football team. It's been for about, I will say, close to 20 years now. Yeah, it's ups and downs, but yeah, I'm a loyal fan.
Hey, I understand, man. You have those ups and downs, you know. When Peyton Manning was there, y'all was on the up and up, you know. But
yeah,
it's just a little rebuilding phase. You got to think about it like that.
Yeah, ever since we have a good roster, but it's just been like that quarterback position who has been a little bit lacking. So maybe we can sign you off, Ashley. Maybe you can give us a boost.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Listen, I enjoy watching my player out there on the field because I don't get hurt.
Okay, well, that's true.
So tell us, Ramos, how did you even find the league in the first place? Because you've been around for a very long time.
Yeah, I've been around for close to 7 years now.
Crazy.
Yeah, close to 7 years. It's been crazy, actually. I mean, it feels like it's only been a couple years, but close to 7 years already. So I was in the league, player versus player, also on All Pro Football 2K8. That league was owned by Tim Johnston, the owner of the Baltimore Vultures. And several guys were there. Mighty RX was there, and you had Eddie Gage was there, and many other guys were there. So TJ one day comes in and says, "Hey guys, I found this league. It's called the SFL. It's a simulation-based league, and I would like for you to be the players of the team, right? So just choose a couple of different positions that you would like to play in and choose the number and we'll make it work, right? So I choose to be either a quarterback or a free safety because those are like, quarterback because, quarterback position, but free safety because it's my favorite position on defense. So I was like, okay, quarterback or free safety. And so I got the free safety position with number 26. And season 3, I started playing with the Baltimore Crabs back in the day. We had a very successful first season there, and ever since it's just been a roller coaster, and it's just been a hell of a ride, to be honest with you. A couple of seasons later, I got the team Santa Fe first, and then moved to Mexico City as a rebrand. So, but yeah, and this was midway through 2014 probably. So it's been a long time.
So how old were you when you actually received your team?
I was 17.
Wow, so you had to be like one of the youngest owners
Yeah.
in the league.
Actually, I was at the moment. Until then, Aaron Arrington, for example, got his team in New Orleans with the Pharaohs, and he was around like 16 or 17 as well, I'm pretty sure,
Okay.
with New Orleans. But yeah.
Well, that is awesome. So tell me, what was that transition? How did that even come to be? Like, what's the story about you actually getting the Santa Fe Gorillas and leaving the Baltimore Crabs?
Well, with the Crabs, again, I was season 3 as only player. I was just a free safety, and then for season 4, I applied to have my own team. Actually, it was another identity that I had in Canada. I mean, it was just like another completely different identity. So I applied for that position, but it wasn't me that got it. It was TPAT. It was Thomas Paternity, who was
Okay.
the defensive coordinator for the Crabs, and he got his Minneapolis Maulers. So at that moment for season 4, I became the DC of the Baltimore Crabs, taking his place.
Okay.
And after that season, I reapplied to have the Santa Fe Gorillas in season 5. And my chances were a little bit better because instead of just having one team added to the league, it was 4 different teams. So it was Destro with the DC Dragons, they were back. It was Frank Gooden with the Tallahassee Pride, now the Jacksonville Kings. And it was Derek Overstreet with the Louisville Wolfpack, and I was the 4th team in Santa Fe. So that's how it happened. And it was midway through 2015.
And so what were your feelings? Like, were you a little bit overwhelmed? I mean, I'm sure you were happy, but
Yeah.
did you realize at the time how much time it would take out of your schedule to become an owner?
Not too much at the time because I was placing a considerable time on that either way. Like that whole year, it was me being a member of the Crabs, but also in my spare time, I was thinking about my new roster because I was like, I'm gonna get that team. I'm just gonna get it. I know I'm gonna get it. So I was just like spending a lot of time on developing the roster, developing the uniforms, developing the city, the name. I changed it several times until I had it like picture perfect of what exactly I wanted to have. So no, it wasn't that much, and it was a whole different era of the SFL. I mean, it was a completely different time where we did not have user players. I mean, Baltimore was the exception to the rule where basically some guys gave their names out to name their players, but that wasn't the trend throughout the league. It was just a bunch of randomly created guys. And so no, I mean, if your question is like how it is right now and how it's been for the past 6-7 seasons, no, not at all. I mean, it's been just an unbelievable change from the SFL back from season 5 all the way here to season close to the 16.
Well, I mean, feel free to further elaborate for those people that don't know. I do like to get, especially when you've been in the league for a long time, I like to get your take on how the league has changed and how it has grown from your perspective.
Right. So season 3, 4, and 5 were prior to hexing. Now, hexing is basically what keeps this league at what it is. So it's the hex editor that we have on the computer. Anybody can use it. You can donate to King Havo, and you can have the editor. And that's how we have 20 players in a team. That's how we can rename the generics. That's how we can put many gold players and all those abilities. It's because of hexing. The generic vanilla game doesn't allow you to do that. It's just 2 golds, 3 silvers, and 6 bronze. And it's basically your golds maximum 5 abilities, your silvers maximum 2, and your bronzes maximum 1, with just like generic attributes. So player progression would not even be an idea without hexing. And that's how it was back in the day. So when I got a team season 5, I just had to like create my team based on the vanilla game. So after that, we got to season 6, we expanded rosters, and for season 10 is when we had a player progression. And those are, I think, the biggest changes the league has made overall, historically, is getting hexing and then getting that player progression. And it's been just, season after season of learning and just learning from mistakes and doing the right thing the following season. And it's been great. I remember way back in that time, it is just like, instead of talking to a guy, like a real guy for a free agent, for example, you actually had to submit like an email to Cam. because it's like, for example, let's say Ashley Jackson was a like non-user player and she was a quarterback and you needed a quarterback. You needed to create a pitch to quote unquote Ashley Jackson for she to come to your team. So you were not the only one sending a pitch to Cam. It was like the Baltimore franchise and the San Francisco franchise and the Louisville franchise, for example. And the pitch that Cam considered was the best got that player. That's exactly how it worked way back in those times. It was a lot of fun. Obviously nowadays it's a little bit easier and a little bit, more realistic with actual guys, but back in the day, that's exactly how it worked.
So tell me, how frustrating is it for AI to not call what you want it to? Like whenever you put your playbooks together.
Right. Well, when you start doing sim after sim after sim after sim, and I've done obviously throughout all these years thousands of simulations and thousands of playbook changes, and it's hours upon hours upon uncountable hours. You do get to learn a little bit on how to make the AI call some plays that you would like to be called in certain times, but at the same time, it's still just a big question mark sometimes, and it's 1st and 10, you're winning the game by 3, you just have to just milk the clock all the way down and you're passing the ball deep, and it's like, what are we doing? So that is a little bit frustrating, but that's also what makes I think the SFL is so interesting is just the fact that nobody has it down to a T. Like nobody has the absolute perfect game plan for absolutely every single game and absolutely every single circumstance. It's just the fact that you still have to evolve and you still have to change and you still have to just tweak and do a little bit of fine tuning to make your playbook as good as possible. But no playbook is unbeatable and no roster is just unbeatable. And that's, I think, what makes the SFL so great.
Fantastic. Tell me, by you being one of the youngest owners, did the other owners make you feel that you were the youngest one, or did they automatically include you? Or
yes, absolutely. Yeah, they did. It wasn't like that's that kid. South of the border. It wasn't anything like that. It was just receiving me like one of them. It's just like, hey, here's another team. Especially because of guys that I had known for several years or at least a few months, like TJ, like Eddie, like all those guys, Destro. I knew him, and and when I got to the league, obviously in season 3 as a player, I was watching every single game and I was participating in the chat in every single game. So they knew me and they knew that I was a big all-pro football fan and a player that has played this game ever since 2007, actually. All
right. So Ramos, for people that don't know you, who is Ramos the owner? Like, how are you in the locker room? For those that we can't see inside there, so we don't know.
Right. I consider myself to be a great leader. I always just make sure my players are ready for game day. Usually, like midway through the season, for example, I will send a message like overall to the team channel and say, man, these are the big highlights of our team. Like Mike Dax is leading the league in catching, and Matt Wilson is leading the league in QBR, and Phoenix Jones last game had 200 yards, and Brock Lee career high 2.5 sacks. All those things is what I really like to do, so we can have the whole team fired up for game day. And also right now in the off season, for example, with the re-signings and all of that good stuff, now that they're coming in and everything, just welcoming people back to the team. Yesterday was the All-Star team's announcement. Mm-hmm. So just sending a message to everybody, hey, help me in congratulating Matt Wilson and Mike Dax for the All-Star game. and then people is just all congratulating them. So yeah, that's what I do. I like to have all the guys like really included in the football team and not feel like a single one of them is left out of the football team, and everybody belongs to the Aztecs.
Awesome. Now, you did have a great season. You guys went 8-4, finished top 5 in the league.
Yeah, it was a very good season, again with ups and downs. I think we started the season 3-0, and then we got a crushing loss against the Gladiators. We were winning that game by like 4 touchdowns, and we just they came back on us. Kudos to them. At one point in the season, I think we were 5-4, and we just needed to finish off strong, and we won the last 3 games to finish 8-4.
I mean, some pretty impressive wins too over Vancouver, and Vancouver was killing people this season.
Yeah.
Even over, let's see, who else? And you had some very close wins too with the Tulsa Desperados, 24-23. Queen City Corsairs, 26-16. That was a good game.
It was a very good tough game. Louisiana early in the season was one of those games where we were like, we need to just contain Rage Streeter. I'm not even saying shutting him down. No, like contain him. Just make a tackle on that guy. We were able to do so, and able to get that W that day.
All right. So how excited are you to have Ray Bentley back?
Oh man, he's absolutely great. Great on and off the field, of course. Right now, as a GM, he is such he gets excited when he gets into the SFL and talks about SFL stuff. He's like, man, I'm learning on the fly. Will be able to, teach me everything. But I'm so excited. I will just do and work as hard as I possibly can. So he's that kind of guy. And in the locker room, he's one of those guys that makes the other dudes feel like part of the football team. And has been that for many seasons. Obviously, he's one of the most well-respected guys in the SFL, a Hall of Famer, an MVP, a championship MVP, all of that good stuff. So when Bentley talks, like, a lot of people listen, and he has them fired up also for Sundays. And even though he was out of the Discord for this season, he still jumped in the chat on game day on the Twitch channel and say, hey, go Aztecs, and all that good stuff. So that's been great for him, and I'm very excited to have him back, and the whole team is too.
Oh, exactly. He was one of those sparks in the league, put in the hosting the Friday song by Rebecca Black.
Every single Friday, like even when I had another job and I had to work from 7 a.m, I got into work, I put in the Discord, and the song was already there. Like, this guy, every single Friday.
But that's good, and that's some of the characters and the different members of our community that just makes it what it is. It's different when they're not around. So, tell me, what is some advice that you want to give to future coaches and future owners that are interested? Learn
as much as you possibly can. Do a lot of simulations and be very observant in your simulations. Just do not live a sim running and then just come back and, we won 23-20. It's not only that, is really pay attention to what formations your team is calling in certain phases of the game, what's working, what's not working, which players do best, things better, which things they do worse, and just create your playbook and create it from there. Because the playbook in the SFL, I think, is a huge part of why a team wins or loses games. Obviously, having the talent is absolutely needed, right? When you have a great quarterback, when you have a great tackle, when you have a great linebacker or whatever, that obviously will help you win many games. But be very observant and use your players to your strengths. Like, if you have a finesse back, just do not put him run between the tackles every day. Like, stretch plays, do a little bit of different things, change it up, and make sure you're using them for their strengths. Also, get out of your comfort zone. You may have the great plays that you love, your bread and butter plays, right? Just like how it is in real football, right? Like how even back from the 60s, Vince Lombardi had the sweep, and how these teams had the screen pass and whatever. You can have your bread and butter plays, but also just expand your horizons and try different things, because you may be surprised of what kind of diamonds you can find in the playbook. I mean, the playbook literally has 8,500 plays. So just expand your horizons and just try different things and see if it works. If it doesn't, take it out. That's okay. Try different things. And I think that's the best advice I can give to a new coach, is just be very observant and try different things. Get out of your comfort zone.
Okay. And so, owner-wise, what is most important in your eyes is for being an owner of a team?
Being organized, for sure, in every single sense. If you do not have certain like organization and you're not on top of things in the ownership group, things kind of start to like fall down very quickly. Where it's signing here, and it's free agency here, and it's a draft here, and playbook submissions and uniform submissions and this and that and coaches points and all of that. So just be very organized in everything. Have people to help you. It's also something that is great to have, whether it's a co-owner, whether it's a GM, whether it's a coach. Just have people that can help you and assist you when you need a hand, because there are some times where it's hot as tough. Owners meetings, sometimes we have calls with other owners and Cam and everything, and those are 2-3 hour calls with a lot of information, and it's just rule changes, and it's so just be on top of everything and be very organized.
Ramos, you know those calls are longer than that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and sometimes it's just like we do the call, and then we continue the conversation in the owners channel, or we continue it in the forums, and it's just, or in the DMs, and it's just yeah. So you have to be very organized and make sure you have everything under control.
Awesome. Now you are a member of the broadcast team as well.
Yeah.
So how did you get into broadcasting?
Well, it was also a few seasons ago. I think it was season probably 11, if I remember correctly. So I just basically reached out to Mike Daggs, the broadcasting director, and it was like, hey, I'm interested in calling a game. Let's see what I can do, right? And he was like, yeah, sure. Let me put you in. Let's make sure your connection is good. Let's make sure your microphone is good, whatever. And I did that. And my first game, I remember I had to call the Houston Hyenas. They played a game, and they played against probably the Swarm. I think it was Atlanta, but it was definitely Houston. Had a ton of fun. Me as basically the color commentator. Eric Vincent was the play-by-play on that game. And just had a lot of fun. I was nervous at the beginning. I was like, wow. I mean, because I've never done it before. I've never done play-by-play commentating before, ever. I had participated in the podcast with me and Jack Brown and stuff, but I have never actually done play-by-play or color commentator of any kind. So it was a little bit of nerves to start that game, but when it got to the second quarter, it just things slowed down for me, and I just felt very comfortable, and I enjoyed to do that a lot. The color commentating now that I'm with Cam, and also have done a couple of play-by-plays with the SFL and last season with the SFL as well, and it's been great.
Is there do you prefer play-by-play, or do you prefer the color analyst?
I actually like both the same way, because it allows you to do two very different things. Cam sometimes calls me Ramos Stradamus or Tony Ramos,
yes,
or something like that, because I kind of do to predict the play before it happens. So I look at the formation. It's like, hey Cam, I think they're gonna run to the right, and sometimes they do, right? And it's cool. So for that's something that I really love. I love to be the caller and analyst. But play-by-play is also very, very cool, and I have the pleasure to do it a couple times already.
You know, I will say that there are some times when you were calling Arizona Scorpions games that I get a little what's the word? Not maybe a little upset because I'm like, how the heck did you know that? First of all, how are you calling stuff before it even comes out?
I know, right? Yeah, and it's just obviously because I also do some film watching overall for teams, right? Because so I watch games, but like when I watch the games, I'm very analytical, and it just comes to my point where it's like being a coach, you have to be very analytical and everything. So it just, when I watch a game, I just cannot just watch it to watch it. I'm looking at the formation, I'm looking at the packages, I'm looking at, oh, that's a 4-3 defense, oh, the linebackers rotated, oh, they ran a cover 4, okay. So it's those kinds of things that are going through my head while I'm watching the games. It's not only just watch to watch, I'm just paying attention to everything that's happening on the screen. So those things kind of like get stuck with me. And so yeah, when I am broadcasting a team, I know this team likes to do certain things because that's their identity, and this team likes to do certain things and stuff like that.
All right, cool. So SFL podcast, you guys actually have the original SFL podcast, you and Jack Brown. Was it someone else too?
Yeah, it was Mighty. It was Jack Brown, then also Ryan Michaels, who was a corner for the Houston Hyenas, and also was the assistant of Andrew Rostelli, assistant DPP. Now it's Marcus, but it used to be Ryan Michaels. And he was a corner for the Houston Hyenas and also the general manager. So it was us 4 on the original podcast.
And how many seasons did that actually go for before you guys kind of stopped?
I think probably 3 seasons. It got to a point for the last season, Mighty actually, stopped participating, and it was only Ryan, Jack, and myself. Jack was kind of like the overseer, and Ryan and myself were kind of like doing the talking and the debating. So, obviously with Jack, doing his commentary here and there. But yeah, it was us 4 for probably about 3 seasons, I will say.
I will say and admit to you that you guys were one of the reasons why I actually started to do this podcast too, because I remember I came and I listened to that podcast and I thought it was awesome, and I wanted to come on.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, you guys were like, hey, it's, basically just you guys talking about things. You had everything set up a systematic way, and you weren't really taking guests at that moment. And so I was like, you know what? I want to be on the show, but you know what? It's okay. I want to do my own thing. So I really want to take the time out to thank you guys for actually inspiring me to do something that I never thought that I would do.
No, that's awesome, and you're great at it. And you have had a great run, and I hope you continue this podcast for many, many seasons to come because it's great. We also had, by the way, James Richards, and he was pushing the buttons. He was doing all of the work as far as, the graphics and everything like that. Then it just became basically us talking like some kind of like podcast, like more like a radio talk. Yeah. But it used to be like broadcasted on the YouTube channel for the SFL with actual graphics and all that, kind of like an actual TV show, quote unquote, and then just became like a radio podcast.
Have you guys ever thought about just doing like a reunion episode?
Actually, Jack hit me up it was probably a couple of weeks ago or something like that. And it was like, maybe we should do one like for the good old times, not with Ryan anymore, right? Because he's not in the league right now, but just do one more just for the good old times. Maybe one day will happen.
That would be awesome. And James Richards is back. So there you go.
Yeah.
It was me.
Yeah. That would be cool. That would be very cool.
All right. So you didn't seem to have too many personnel changes this season, at least not that I saw. What do you think caused people to stay or want to remain a part of the Mexico City Aztecs?
I think that it's just that we are a family here in the Aztecs, and also the fact that we've been together for a long time. So obviously there are guys that like to go test free agency and they love that process. But at the same time, there are guys that just want to stay with each other. We have the Dax guys. We have Mike and Jeffrey and Matt Wilson, who's been a friend of Mike for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And KL Barrett has been with us since season 8. And yeah, Dexter Jackson has been with us for a couple of seasons and he loves it here. And Brock Lee has been our defensive end. He's the leader of our defensive line. So we have guys that have stayed together for a long time. Cole Varner as well, our kicker ever since season 9. So yeah, it's just the fact that we have just grown to be a family and we are in this thing to win a second championship. And that's why these guys are very excited for it. It's just, let's get another one.
Awesome stuff, Ramos. Tell me, how do you feel about your division?
It's a very tough division. First of all, we got absolutely destroyed by Lone Star this year. So we will have to go against the Glory twice.
Yeah, see.
We have to get very well prepared. But in that, it's going to be named the Tex-Mex division.
Yes.
It's Texas and us. Man, it's just going to be very hard. I mean, it's the Houston Hyenas who have had our number, to be honest with you, for a few seasons. I think in the all-time series we're kind of 50-50, but as of late it's been the Hyenas who have been the better team. And finally we have Fort Worth, who we have not played yet, but they have great leadership. Obviously Nacho is there. They have great leadership on that football team and great players. That a lot of them are coming back, by the way. So they're going to be a very strong team. It's going to be a very tough division, and it's going to be very interesting to see if we can be the better team on those games.
All right. So a couple more questions for you, then I'm going to let you go. About your logo that you have, what was the inspiration behind your logo? Did Matt help you create that, or does that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was all Matt. I was so amazed when he gave me that first sketch. It has been unchanged. Like that first sketch, that logo that you see, that was the first thing he gave me. Like we made no modifications on that design. No modifications. On the colors, yes, but on the actual design, nothing. I was like, okay, our team is called the Aztecs, and I was thinking about a couple of things. Number one, having some sort of like front-faced Aztec head with like the Aztec calendar somewhere around there, maybe in the eye or something like that. Or having the actual face of the Aztec warrior in some sort of like profile kind of look. And I decided to be that last one. And as far as the head goes, I was like, it has to be an eagle. I thought about putting like a lion on it or a jaguar on it, because you just do see that. But on our flag, it's basically the eagle. So I was just like, let's do the eagle, and let's have our colors and just like basically the side view look of the Aztec warrior. And when Matt Doyle sent me that first design, I was like, that's it. That's it. I mean, we can then work on the colors, but you nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. There's nothing I was looking at that was like, no, that needs to change. Nothing. I thought it was perfect.
I've been taking the time out to actually admire people's logos and the detail that he does with his designs. And if you're looking at it at first glance, it looks like an eagle. But then when you look at it further, you can tell that it's an Aztec warrior with an eagle. It's absolutely fantastic. So
yeah, just like the silhouette of that face of the Aztec warrior. I think it gives it like that kind of very mysterious and aggressive look, without being too detailed. It's just like that, like that shadow, and then in bright colors the head of the eagle. So I think it just like makes a great contrast.
Would you have ever considered moving the team any other place besides Mexico City?
No, to be honest, no. I even thought changing it to where I live, but then the questions become, okay, where's that? Like Querétaro, like the Querétaro Aztec, okay, where's that? Like, okay. Is that even here in the States? Is that where is that, right? So no, it was the Santa Fe Gorillas. And the reason why Santa Fe, just to give you like a quick insight on that, is because that was before hexing. is basically the things that we were saying. It was before hexing, so there was no way for us to actually input Mexico City because it was not in the game.
Okay.
But Santa Fe was in the game, and Santa Fe is kind of like a suburb in Mexico City. So I just went with that because it was the next closest thing. But by the time we went to like hexing and everything, I told Cam, I want to rebrand. I want to become like Mexico City because that's a more recognizable brand that people know actually where that is. And because a lot of people thought it was Santa Fe, New Mexico, right? So yeah, just change Mexico City and change it from the Gorillas to the Aztecs, which is also a brand and a name that actually associates to the country. So that's how it came. Yeah, and it was in season 8. Season 8, we made the change.
Beautiful, beautiful. Tell me, last question.
Yep.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years in SFL and in life?
Okay, in the SFL, still owning the Aztecs. I will hope. We are just getting started as far as the SFL goes. This league is going even more places than it already is. I mean, back in the day, it was just unthinkable for me to be on television. It was just like, no, come on. I mean, only the Steelers are on television, and only the USC Trojans are on television. No, and then we are on television, and we are on the front page of Twitch, and we are all doing all of those things. So, still owning the Aztecs, as far as the SFL goes, and hopefully with at least one more chip. And as far as personal life, I do have a girlfriend of 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years. So hopefully getting married. I'm not sure if kids, but hopefully, yeah, getting married and having traveled the world with her a couple of times already. We are thinking of a trip this upcoming year already, maybe to like South America or something like that. So we are excited for that.
That's where you're gonna pop the question?
I'm sorry?
Is that where you're gonna pop the question?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Make sure she sees this podcast too.
Yeah, I will. I absolutely will.
All right, Ramos. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to hang out with me and let the viewers know a little bit about you and everything. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you, Ashley, for having me. This is a great show that you have going, and I hope to hear from it also in 5 years from now.
Hey, I plan to. As long as my cameras and my microphones hold up, we're going to be good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I cannot let you go without giving you the last word. So that can be a song, that can be a poem, or a simple shout out. Right now, the floor is yours.
Shout out to all the Aztecs. We are going for that second championship, and let's go. And I'm very excited for the SFL this upcoming season, and I'm very excited to see you as well.
All right, I'll be watching you very closely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a good one. Thanks.
You too, Ashley. Thank you for having me.
Anytime.